What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video, and today we're going to go ahead and bring up a compelling argument. Your boy using big words like compelling. An argument. The Crew 2, free to play. This is something which has been on my mind for a few days now. I've been, thinking about this because it actually came up when me and my friend CJ were talking. We were talking about the Crew 2, where it's going to go in the future, the last update, which was recently announced, and I haven't played this game in months. Before the game came out, I was really looking forward to it. I made videos saying that this game was going to be fantastic. From what I played before launch, I'd really enjoyed it. The physics was solid, the gameplay was solid, and everything, before launch would tell you that that game was going to be fantastic. To give you a quick TLDR, that wasn't the case. Player counts are dropping by the day, and the game's constantly on sale, and to put it bluntly, the Crew 2 just isn't really where it should be right now. Now, I think this is for a multitude of reasons. I'm not going to dwell on this too much because this isn't the point of this video. I think it's because of the lack of meaningful updates. Every single update they've done so far, other than the PvP one, just doesn't really seem like they haven't added much, or they haven't done much to it. And even the PvP update was very, lackluster and bare bones. For a PvP update, which we waited almost half a year for, it just wasn't enough. And I think those are like some of the reasons to why the player count's dwindling and those are the types of things. But I think the one solution to this is my proposition for the Crew 2 free-to-play model. And we're going to go ahead and talk about it in this video because I have a few ideas which maybe could happen one day. I don't know. But I think in the current state where the Crew 2 is, it would really benefit from this. And I'm just going to go ahead and talk about it in this video. So let's go ahead and talk about the Crew 2 free-to-play. So free-to-play is kind of like a buzzword at the moment in the gaming world. We've seen the whole battle royale genre blow up from this, and realistically, that's the only genre really making use of the free-to-play model in such a way. There's not really many other games, on a broader scale that really are doing this. But I think the Crew 2, has a perfect place for this. So with the Crew 2, I'll have two purchasing structures, I guess you could call it. You'd have the main game, which comes with absolutely all the content, and that's the main game as we already know it, the future updates, etc. And then you have the free-to-play version, which is only the street racing discipline. This is what I think most people would be interested in, customizing the street racing cars and racing with street racing. I think that's something which is a compelling argument because the Crew 2 has so many different, pools it can pull from. There's cars, boats, drag racing, dirt racing, rallycross. There's so many different types of racing it can grab from. I think actually making one of the strands free to play makes so much sense, because not only would that bring more people to the paid version of the game, well, it would also increase the player pools for PvP and multiplayer modes, which hopefully they're adding more of because they desperately need it. And I think if you marketed it in a way that really celebrates street racing and makes it a bit more exaggerated than it already is, you're onto a winner here, because things like Fast and Furious are still, relevant in pop culture, even if it isn't about the tuning scene and the racing scene. But customizing cars and stuff is blowing up again, with, just car vloggers and, rap companies be on Dave, Yanamize is on Dave. That's really weird. My point is, there's a place for that in pop culture still, customizing cars and tuning cars. So if they advertised it in that way, where this free-to-play game, you customize cars, you race, you can compete to get, loot and stuff, I think that would work really well. I think the whole loot system with the Crew 2 would lend itself to a free-to-play game as well, because it's naturally already really grindy. So if this was a thing and, this free-to-play game that I'm envisioning, I think that would work really well also. Not to mention, I still stand by what I said about the Crew 2's physics. I think they are very good. Are they as good as Forza? That's honestly down to personal preference. But they are a solid base, and it's a solid game. At its core, the fundamentals of that game are solid. But what it lacks is content. But if it's free to play and you can just grab people from anywhere, I think that's amazing. Not to mention that the game now has PvP. It does have PvP now. That's it's very bare bones, very lackluster. But if it's free to play, can you really moan about it being lackluster and that element to it? Obviously, I'm always going to sit here and be an advocate for more content, because I think that's really important. But the point is, if it's free to play, you can't then moan and say, well, the game doesn't have enough shit because you haven't paid for it. And if you do moan and say, you know what, I want more content, which again, it's a very valid complaint to have, because at the moment I don't think the PvP mode has enough. you know, if it got enough support and if there was enough traction with this kind of free-to-play model, I think it could work really well, you know, within the Crew 2 to the point where they can allocate more resources to PvP and they can allocate more resources to multiplayer, and overall it's just going to bring a lot more attention to what is the Crew 2. I think honestly this would benefit the Crew and Ivory massively. I know their next update is basically going to be a community update and it's going to be revolving around the community, but like I said, with the dwindling player base and with, you know, the game being on sale, it's almost never at sale for full price anymore on Steam, on Uplay, Amazon, etc. It's never usually full price anymore, it's always lower. They kind of need to look to do something to revamp this game, and I'm not paying for another Wild Run expansion. The difference with this and the Wild Run, I think, is in the Crew 1, I was still playing that game constantly, so I had a reason to give the Wild Run a go, because I was still playing that game. With the Crew 2, I haven't touched the game at all in months. So I'm not going to go now back and to pour more money into this game, which I still don't think really I've got my money's worth from. I think this would benefit him like tremendously, and I honestly think it would bring so many more people to the actual main game, you know, with the boats, with the planes, because chances are, if people are really enjoying that street racing discipline, they are going to want to try, you know, the pro racing disciplines and, you know, the F1 cars and the rallycross cars. You know what, the street racing discipline is this might be an unpopular opinion. It's not even my favourite discipline in the game. The rallycross discipline is actually my favourite in the game, and it kind of comes back to that point of, you know, the breadth of it, or maybe even allow players to use these cars in the open world but not compete in events, and then give them a taster of what there is to come in this game, and then maybe entice them into buying that upgrade for the full game. I just think it would make so much more sense. The Crew 2 is a game which is not really a master of anything but a jack of all trades, and I think giving away one of the sections of this game and using that as the main thing going forward, the main pillar going forward, makes so much more sense than anything they've done so far. So let me know what you guys think about this whole Crew 2 free-to-play thing that I've been talking about in this video. Do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea? Do you think they should do this? Let me know what you think down in the comment section down below. But that's been it for me today. If you guys enjoyed, if you did, make sure to go ahead and hit the like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have been awesome, stay safe, and peace.